there, my friend, and thank you so much for joining me for this month's episode of Up Next on Access Hammonton. I'm your host and friendly neighborhood weatherman, Nor'easter Nick. We've got a lot of cool things to show you in this episode, so let's cut the chit-chat and get right down to brass tacks. On Saturday, November 19th, Hammonton Town Council joined the Parks Commission and Recreation leader Denise Mazzio in a ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially reopen the Captain Gerard V. Palma Playground at Hammonton Lake Park. Members of the public, Captain Palma's family, and the family of Lydia Fecto, whose inquiries regarding handicap-accessible playground equipment helped inspire this project. They were all present to celebrate the new playground.
Well, today I think is a celebration of Hammonton Lake Park and the grand reopening of the Captain Gerard V. Palma Playground here at Lake Park. This is phase one of a multi-phase approach, and we're very happy with the turnout.
You know, to really seeing everything come together is really special. My favorite part right now is watching kids run around and jump around on the park. That's really what we do it for. You know, whether it's child-based recreation or passive recreation, we just want the community to come out and to enjoy it. So to see it complete and to see the community get the chance and opportunity to enjoy it, that's absolutely the best part.
I started bringing my daughters here years ago, and you know, I think this is great to have new playground equipment, ADA compliant. You know, that was something that was brought to the town's attention years ago, and we acted on it. We sought grants from the state in order to fund this phase. Phase one has been funded completely with a $400,000 small cities grant we received from the state of New Jersey, and just this past March we received an additional $400,000 for our next phase with ADA compliant ramps throughout the park that I think is very important. So it's important to the community that they have a playground that the children can play in, that we can all be proud of, that is safe, and that offers families something to do. We love it.
Well, it's great to have handicap accessible and ADA compliant equipment. So I think anyone, I've lived in town my whole life. I've played on the pre-existing park equipment since I was a little kid, right? And I think you can see that this is very different. Now, that's not to say that every piece of equipment that we purchase is going to be exactly like this, where our goal is to make sure that the park is accessible and available for all different levels of children, whether it be handicapped individuals, children, you know, between the ages of 4 and 7, or older individuals, you know, that might be somewhere between 12 and 14. So this section is a little bit different in terms of its handicap accessibility, but we're excited to see, as new phases come out, the difference and disparity in what type of equipment will be out here.
I definitely want to recognize our parks coordinator, Denise Mazzio. Denise wears many hats in the town, but she's a fantastic model town employee, and we owe her a great deal of gratitude for all of her work in coordinating and organizing this effort, in organizing today. And I think that, you know, for our Parks Commission, this is a great achievement.
To finally be able to cut the ribbon on a labor of love it means so much to me to say, you know, this piece, which is not finished, you know, the playground is not done. We're not done with it. But this piece is completed, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a big deal. To have handicap accessible playground equipment in Hammonton where we didn't before. This is a big deal. It's a significant upgrade. I hope your kids enjoy this. I hope everyone has fun, and I hope we take care of it, because I want to see it here for years to come, generations to come. I played on this playground. You know, I grew up here. I lived here my whole life, and I played here. My kids have played here. My grandkids will play here one day, and their kids will play here one day. And I just really, my hope is that with the new expansions in the next phases, it will be taken care of.
What a wonderful project. I played in that park as a kid, and it's nice to know that many future generations will get a chance to do so as well in a more inclusive and safe way. Huge shout out to Denise Mazzio for being there every step of the way. The holiday season is upon us. Rushing around can get very hectic, right? I stopped by Inferrera here in town to see how they get ready for the season and to see if they have any tips for us all to calm down.
Inferrera has been around for many years now, and it's located here right in the heart of Italy, Little Italy in Hammonton. We're most known for our sausage, fresh meats, homemade stuffed breads, and things of that sort. So this time of the year, it's definitely a lot busier than most times of the year, just because of the holidays and everyone preparing for the holidays and getting ready. I'd say it's definitely been a lot tougher with COVID, and it's definitely impacted a lot on how the business is ran, and a lot more people have transitioned from even coming in the store to doing our curbside pickup and our online ordering, and we also do delivering and all that. I'd say the most challenging part right now is just making sure everything is in stock, having all the orders prepared, and making sure all our turkeys are prepared to go to the customers, because we do offer fresh turkeys as well. So for the holiday season, we do a lot of catering, whether it be homemade stuffing, sausage and peppers, loose sausage, getting all that ready, just a lot of the sides that go along with the traditional Thanksgiving meals. I'd say the overall experience is a lot of customers enjoy it. We have a friendly staff. For the most part, everything is always stocked, and if they need something that we don't have, we do our best to get it for them. Give us a try and allow us to prep your sides for you. We do have a full service kitchen, so allow us to prep your sides for you. Give us a call, we'll get it all prepared for Thanksgiving. So I'd say the feel is different because since we are a smaller Italian market, it's definitely a lot easier for us to connect with the consumer, to be able to talk to the customer on more of a personal level instead of just, hey, do you need this or this or that? So we do have a homemade Romano cheese that we do here. Our sausage and peppers, it's all homemade here. Our breads, stuffed pork chops, fresh meat, never frozen. So I'd say a lot of that you'd be able to find here.
Happy holidays, Inferrera.
Thanks, Alex. Good to see you, and thanks for being such a welcoming place to shop and a staple in our community. While there's a lot of cheer and holiday spirit this time of the year, there's also a great level of need. The Hammonton Police Department kicked off their 4th annual food drive a couple weeks back, and we'll be collecting canned goods and other non-perishable items through mid-December to help with those in need in our community. When I learned about the food drive, I wanted to do something to pitch in. So we came up with a very fun idea. Chief Friel and I ran around ShopRite collecting hundreds of dollars worth of food to be donated. Kind of like that old show, Supermarket Sweep. Remember that? It was a blast. How do we do? Well, let's see. I am so excited to be here with my good buddy, Chief Kevin Friel of the Hammonton Police Department. We are going to do something great. Well, you guys are already starting something great, your food drive.
We're doing the food drive, yes we are.
And we decided, since we have this competitive spirit and he always loses, we want to try something new. Remember that show, Supermarket Sweep?
Yes, I do. Yes,
We're going to reenact that right here at Hammonton ShopRite, and we have 5 minutes to get as much food as possible, and whoever has the bigger cart, I am going to donate to the food drive. So this is going to be very exciting. Are you ready?
I think I am ready, and it's very kind of you to help out with St. Vincent de Paul's Food Bank.
I'm very excited to do this, and we have 5 minutes, so let's get going. Ready?
Go. Sandwich.
Baked beans, baked beans, baked beans.
I'm not even sure what that is, but someone's going to be happy with that. Everybody's got to have peppers, right?
Come on. Maintenance.
Chocolate Cheerios, regular Cheerios. And there might be some gluten-free people, so we'll grab some of those.
Oh, these are healthy. Great snacks. Roasted almonds.
Let's, I guess let's hit the next aisle over here. Let's go this way.
Bet he didn't think about this.
I think we are good. I think we beat them. I think we can honestly just call it. Okay, look, I'm a cop. Got to do this. So,
Hey, look. Quantity means nothing. All right, we still have to check this out.
I understand.
Plus, there was a bag of pasta back there. You went through in the middle of the night and you opened because you knew I was going to take that, and it fell all over the place.
That's impossible, Nick. ShopRite is closed during the night. How did I get in here?
All right, let's ring this up.
We're hitting the end here, Robbie. We're hitting the end.
Well, friends, that was a blast. Chief, I appreciate you being here. I guess it's now time to see who won. But let me again say that there was a little mishap down the aisle, and I took public safety first because somebody could have just fallen and hurt themselves, and that took like 2 minutes out of the whole thing. So we rung everything up. My total was $198.53. What was your total?
$439.79.
You did a little bit better than me, but that's because you went for the big ticket items. And that's embarrassing as somebody that worked at ShopRite a long time ago.
Cereal put me over the top. Cereal definitely put me over the top.
That's all right. All that matters is there's going to be a lot of people that are positively impacted by this, thanks to your generosity, giving us your time today.
Well, you're the winner and you're the generous person, because this is wonderful that you can help out with our local food bank. St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank has had more and more people that are in need. And for you to be this generous to help out, it's wonderful. We've been doing our food drive for the past 3 years, and I don't think we've had anyone step up like this.
Well, I'm a big believer in paying it forward and helping you guys and helping the church and anybody that needs help. It's, you know, at a critical point this year. More and more people need help. So the deal was whoever had the bigger cart, more money, I would pay for and donate. I know what it's like to put stuff back on the shelves, and it's not fun, and we don't want to put that on them for the holiday season. So I'm going to donate everything that we collected today, and let's get this done. So
You're a good man, Nick.
thank you, guys. Enjoy. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I still think the Chief snuck in and sabotaged me. Oh well, we will do it again next year, and I'll come out on top. Just you wait and see. Seriously though, it was a blast, and I'm so happy we were able to come together to make such a difference. It's worth mentioning that in addition to the food drive, the Hammonton Police Department will be collecting new unwrapped toys in front of Hammonton Walmart on December 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd. Way to go. Speaking of making a difference, Carrie Koya over at the Hammonton High School is doing just that with the creation of the Devil's Pantry. Such a cool project that creates a safe space for those who need it most. Check this out.
If you don't give somebody a running start or a chance to overcome what they're overcoming,
Right.
in a real life kind of way, you know, what are we doing? Why are we here? When you can see the relief on a kid's face that you're at least even for a few hours alleviating the pressure that they feel. The kids can be, the stories are, we are not a wealthy district. You know, there's a lot more low income here than most people realize. And the townspeople have been amazing, like, you know, so generous and whatever. But I don't think people really realized that the need is there. And now that you've kind of tapped it open, you have to keep going.
The Devil's Pantry survives on donations. Cash, gift cards, and checks are used to purchase clothes, school supplies, snacks, and much more. Students can also get their laundry done, need be, as the pantry is outfitted with a washer and dryer. Carrie told me that science clearly demonstrates that children need to feel safe and comfortable in order to learn. This pantry is just the beginning of a new way of thinking about and handling our students and their complicated situations. Since the program has been up and running, many families have received assistance and have had tremendous positive results. If you're interested in making a donation to this worthy cause, you can contact Carrie directly at Hammonton High School. Amazing. I really wish there was something like this when I was a kid. Thank you for all you do, Carrie. This past Sunday, I had the honor of hosting Hammonton Pride's first ever Miss Hammonton Pride pageant. It was an absolute blast from start to finish. Max Rodeo and his committee are doing big things to break barriers in our community. Let's find out a little more.
So tonight is the first annual Miss Hammonton Pride pageant. We'll be crowning our first ever Miss Hammonton Pride here at Cathedral Event Center. It's been a good 6 months of planning this, from sourcing the crown and scepter to our wonderful sponsors helping out. It's been a labor of love, but definitely excited to crown Miss Hammonton Pride. Why I wanted to put this together was because it's time for Hammonton and our surrounding areas to usher in a new era of progress, and Miss Hammonton Pride will resemble that progress in empathy and acceptance, and most importantly, love. You can expect to see Miss Hammonton Pride all around Hammonton at town events, and we're hoping to also start incorporating her into our schools. To Hammonton, hopefully that means that it's time to move forward and usher in a new generation and continue to see Hammonton prosper as it has been and welcome queer culture. Hopefully another 4 Miss Hammonton Prides will be crowned in the next 5 years, and it'll create a legacy here in Hammonton. To anybody watching, we hope to see you next year if you're not already here.
Max, we are behind you 100%. It amazes me how you were able to put that together so quickly. Just a lot of work went into that. And thank you for including me. Well, that's all we have for this show, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be working on all kinds of stories for December. Please tune in next month to see what's up next on Access Hammonton. I will leave you with my annual winter outlook so you know how to prepare, or maybe prepare, for the season ahead. Take care, everybody. Hey there, my friends. Nor'easter Nick here. Guess what? We are so pumped up and excited. It's that time of the year again. The annual winter forecast is about to be published. We're going to talk about everything, including how often you're going to have to use this guy. The leaves and the trees have changed. They're basically falling now, and they're on the ground. You can almost smell winter in the air if it wasn't like 70 degrees outside. Now, who's ready to go into the studio and check out that annual forecast? I know I am. See you guys. Right out of the gate, I want to start with dispelling some common misconceptions that just aren't true. Myth number 1, you don't need sunscreen. That's demonstrably false. You do, in fact, need sunscreen during the winter months. Snow can actually cause more damage because it's bright, white, and reflective. Myth number 2, you lose 90% of your heat through your head. This is also false. While you should wear a hat because it's stylish and it will give you some warmth, your head only accounts for about 7% of your body's surface temperature. How about myth number 3? I like this one. You shouldn't exercise in the cold weather. Well, this is false. I do it all the time. Running times are actually quicker in the winter. When you go outside, your endorphin levels increase, giving you more energy. Myth number 4 tells us that frostbite is hard to get. Well, this is false. Frostbite is actually quite common. Wet or cold skin numbs, and then blisters in as little as 30 minutes can appear, even in temperatures just above freezing. Nerve damage from blisters can turn your skin black, and you may lose fingers or toes, so always make sure that your lower extremities are covered up and are warm. Finally, myth number 5. Lots of acorns means a harsh winter. Nope, there's no correlation whatsoever to what will happen the next season. It's actually based on the past weather, not the future. Putting the winter forecast together is quite literally my favorite thing to do all year long, not because we know exactly what's going to happen. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Truthfully, sometimes we have no idea what's going to happen. A quick pattern change, a storm popping up out of nowhere. There are all kinds of complexities that get thrown into the mix, and that's what makes it most exciting. Now, before we dive into all the details, I know you probably have a lot of questions, and of course, you're anticipating that moment that I show you what I'm expecting in your backyard in terms of snowfall, right? We got to understand that globally, nationally, locally, we are warming. Regardless of what your opinion is on climate change, we are warming. That's an undeniable fact. You go back to 1970 and we're about 4.3 degrees warmer on average. Okay, now why is this significant? Looking at that, you're like, well, that's good for our electric bills, right? Well, yes, But also, for every 1 degree that we warm, the atmosphere is holding 4% more moisture. So on average, over the past 50 years, we are holding about 16% more water vapor in the air, which in the summer season, that leads to deluges and flooding and all that kind of stuff. Not so good situations. In the winter, it can actually be beneficial if you are a snow lover. So the warm water offshore combined with a vast temperature difference between the land and the sea and all that moisture in the air, that can create some pretty big precipitation shields. And we already saw that twice last year with 2 big back-to-back snowstorms. So if that continues, that could definitely be something that we see this year. What you're looking at here is called the sea surface temperature anomaly. And essentially what it is, it's showing you where there are areas that are much warmer than average and cooler than average. And there are some areas, very few and far between, but are white. That shows you basically no change, kind of like where they should be for this time of the year. This is just blaring you in the face, right? The middle of your screen, this is where along the equatorial Pacific, we have cooler than normal weather, or cooler than normal sea surface temperatures. That's a La Nina. And this is a triple dip La Nina year. We had La Nina last year. We had it the year before. Last year we had a very good amount of snow. The year before, not so much. So not every La Nina is created equal. What's also interesting here is a triple dip La Nina is very rare. They've only happened a handful of times over the past 100 years, and this is only the second time since 2000. So it's been 20 years since we got in on a triple dip La Nina. The El Nino Southern Oscillation, ENSO, that cycle's not the only thing that we look at. We look at the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Up here, we look at the North Atlantic Oscillation, the Pacific North America pattern. All these terms you're going to hear me talk about throughout the course of the winter, and they're just different patterns that can have an upper hand at times. One thing we also have to take into consideration is how warm the water is off the East Coast. Now, people usually think, oh, warm water, that's bad for snow. Not at all. I like to see warm water offshore because you get that big temperature gradient, and that's how you can create those robust storms to produce more snow. Now, a downfall of that is the stronger a storm is, obviously, the more likely we are to have significant flooding, especially if the moon cycle lines up the right way. What does that cooler water in the Pacific do? Well, it impacts our overall upper air pattern over the continental United States, over North America, where most of the cold air is bottled up over Canada, and the worst of the winter weather is usually in northwest Canada, and sometimes it seeps down into the northern plain states of the United States. Every now and then, the polar jet is going to be coming down into our neck of the woods, bringing us cold shots, but it's rare that we see these prolonged periods of cold weather, for an entire month or so. Usually they're very brief, but as those patterns change up, that's typically our best opportunity to get in on some stormy weather. The Pacific jet brings a lot of precipitation, rain, and snow to the Pacific Northwest, and the southern states are usually warmer and drier, with us kind of like on the edge all the time. So that means that we are most likely to see the colder than normal weather across the northern plains. So through Minnesota, through North Dakota, South Dakota, creeping down into Nebraska, I truly think it's going to be an above normal winter for us with the temperatures. I'm going anywhere between 1 and 3 degrees. I think 2 or 3 is pushing it, but definitely averaging over a degree above normal. We are kind of like right on the edge in that department, with the average weather just out to our west. That also correlates to near average snowfall for our backyard. Now, all it takes is one big nor'easter, 15 to 20 inch event to kind of bury that theory. But looking at the trends, looking at the analogs, we look at years where things were similar. This is what makes most sense to me. With most of the snow over the Great Lakes, over the northern plains, and then dipping down into the Ohio Valley with maybe 25% above normal. For us, I think it's very close to normal. But before I show you what those totals are, we got to talk about how we get snow. There are 3 distinct storm tracks that we see each and every year. Number 1 is the most common. This is a clipper system. Area low pressure originates over Alberta, Canada, dips down through the Plain States, through the Ohio Valley, and emerges off the East Coast. That brings us a quick moving storm, light events, generally 1 to 4 inch storms. We call them nuisance type storms, right? No major issues. Now, track number 2 is quite literally the bane of my existence, and they can start out as clippers coming down from Canada, tracking across the Ohio Valley, but then they transfer their energy to a coastal low. And these are slower moving storms. They can bring big snow, they can bring big flooding, but they're very complicated. If you remember back in, I think it was 2015, blizzard warnings up and down the East Coast. We're expecting 30 inches of snow. And if we got 30 centimeters in some locations, that was a lot. It materialized, but much too late to be any impact to New Jersey. It was more of a New England thing. So those are really difficult to nail down. Last year, we were very lucky. We had your more traditional nor'easter. Area low pressure originates down in the Gulf of Mexico, climbs up the coast. Now, these vary in speed. Sometimes you can get a quick hitter, 12 to 18 hours, but sometimes they're drawn out over 2 or 3 days. These can bring a lot of snow, but also a lot of coastal flooding depending on the phase of the moon. And again, we call these your classic nor'easter. We haven't had one in many years, but then we had 2 back-to-back last year in a La Nina pattern. So can we do that again this year? Well, I think it's going to be more of a traditional winter where the shore gets the least. I'm going 8 to 12 inches down through Atlantic City and Cape May County, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Upper Township, maybe the southeast portion of Cumberland County. You get into Millville, you get into Winslow, Stafford Township, Toms River. I'm going 14 to 18. Now, as a point of reference, the average right here is about 16 inches. So I'm going either side of that. Farther north and west towards Salem, Gloucester, Camden, Burlington County, 16 to 20, usually average about 22 in that area. North and west of Philadelphia, 20 to 24, and the Pocono Mountains, about 2 feet of snow. So I looked at all the averages, I looked at the La Nina years, and then I subtracted a little bit. I'm erring on the side of caution, okay? I do believe that 1 or 2 good storms is possible and can easily get us to these numbers. Last year we had more of like a pineapple upside down cake kind of winter where the shore got the most. I'm not expecting that to be the case this year. The I-95 corridor points north and west. That is where we are most likely to get in on the worst of the winter weather. So I think it's going to be more of a front-loaded season. We are definitely going to see warm weather through November, but maybe by Thanksgiving or early December, we'll start to see things flip around a little bit. I believe that we should start to see our snow by early to mid-December. I think our first snowstorm is probably by mid-December, maybe our first nor'easter. Then what's interesting is there are hints that the La Nina pattern could start to weaken a little bit, and that could jolt everything in a completely different direction by the end of the winter. But I think the January thaw is probably a thing by mid-month. 2 to 3 nor'easters are likely, but what they amount to, well, that's open for debate. We can't tell you until it's actually happening. So what could go wrong? If you ever hear me talk about the dreaded Southeast Ridge, you know it's my least favorite thing in the winter season. So that pushes the jet stream to the north, and it really overwhelms the mid-Atlantic, especially with mild air. You end up with sloppy mix events and rain and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to hope that the Southeast Ridge isn't a big deal this year, but most years it usually peeks its little ugly head out. So in short, I'm not going with this extreme idea of winter. We're probably above normal in our temperature department and slightly below average with the snowfall. No matter what happens, I will be here to walk you through it every step of the way. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nor'easter Nick, and I look forward to having a very, hopefully, fun winter together.